Hello, everyone, and welcome to another panel discussion with the authors of Intuitive Living. My name is Crystal Hill. I'm the founder of Hill House Publishing and a soul embodiment coach. And my mission with Hill House Publishing really is to bring thought leaders, content creatives, and change makers together to share a message to awaken and empower humanity. And so Inspired Living is doing just that. And so I want to introduce you to all the incredible authors that we have on right now. And a massive congratulations to everyone. We have just hit US best-selling, number one best-selling author in the US with our book. So that is exciting. We're now sitting on 3 of them in 3 countries. Here they are, and not just in one category, but in 13 in Australia, 7 categories in Germany, and in philosophy in the US. So I would love to hear from you, who you are, and just share a little bit about yourself. Like, we were going for half an hour. There's lots of questions, so just keep it to a minute each, and then we can go around several times with several things. Tracy, would you like to start introducing yourself and how you're feeling right now?
I have way too much energy. The past 24 hours I've been dancing around the house, and it's just like this just little kid giddy feeling. I 5 years ago, I never would have, if I would have told myself this is where I would be, I it's just unbelievable that I've come so far. And that was one of the reasons why I wanted to be a part of this book, because I've followed my voice and have made some pretty drastic changes in my life. And it's all because of really tuning in and listening to who I really am.
Amazing. Would you like to share what you're doing now? Like, what was that change that made you listen to that you made because you listened to your intuition? Just tell everyone.
Yeah, so I was a public school teacher for 21 years, and I just had that feeling that there was something wrong with me. I wasn't going to make it, and I started going to therapy. I did a lot of intense work on my brain, and just figured out who I really was. I kind of had this thing where I separated my thoughts from my heart. And once I figured out what was going on up here was the result of some mental health stuff that I needed to deal with, and not just who I was as a person, my heart opened up, and I've just been able to kind of hear myself more and more and more. And there was a point when, like, each time I would listen, the voice would get louder, and it was like, you do not belong here anymore. And I wrote my letter of resignation, and different opportunities kept popping up. I got my resume updated and ended up getting hired by that company as a writer. And now I'm a professional writer, and that was what I always wanted to be when I grew up anyway. So it just took me till 44 to grow up, but it's a good place to be.
It's an amazing story, and just a testament of what can happen when we do our inner work, and when we really listen to that inner voice and uncover the intuition that is already within us, and then actually act on it. Isabel, I'd love to move over to you and hear from you how you're feeling right now, and tell us a little bit about your journey.
I'm really excited because, to me, intuition and learning to follow our intuition, I think, is one of the greatest gifts we can give this planet, every human being on this planet. And so when I said yes to being a co-author in this book, I don't really think I even understood. I was like, oh, I'll talk about my story about intuition, and that's going to be great. But really, to now have all of us, 25 people, 25 stories with the energy that is available in this group, we're all really dedicated to living our lives with our heart, with our intuition, whatever you want to call it, with spirit, with God, whatever the word is that's comfortable. And so I'm just blown away by what good it seems like we're doing with this book, and how excited people are, because I wish that this was something that was taught in school. Can you imagine if children were taught to listen to their intuition as one of their curriculum? What a different world we would be. So this is our education. This book is a way to spread out some teaching around that.
Absolutely. And tell us a little bit about your backstory and what you're doing in the world that is working with this intuition.
Great, thank you. So I come from a background where, like Tracy was talking about, I had a lot of trauma growing up. I had a lot of abuse. And so I became the type of woman who was incredibly capable, right? Incredibly driven, very successful. I became a licensed marriage and family therapist, built an international practice. And I was just like type A to the maximum. And then happened to me, I got adrenal exhaustion. I got diagnosed with adrenal exhaustion. Then my marriage fell apart. And it was this wake up call. Like my intuition, I think, had been trying to speak to me for years, like, slow down, like, you got to listen to your heart. And I wasn't listening because I was so busy overlooking what was really happening inside my feelings, my body. And so I had to get sick and my marriage had to fall apart for me to finally listen to my intuition. And I developed this methodology through my own healing journey that I now teach in corporate. I teach as an online course. I have 30 people who are trained. It's called the Feel Good Life Methodology. And it teaches us how to move out of living in the stress response and to access the relaxation response, which seems like, wait, what? The relaxation response? Actually, Dr. Andrew Weil calls the relaxation response the God response. So we're really talking about how do we learn not to live in constant stress and access the place in our bodies, in our minds, in our spirits where our intuition lives, where God lives. And so that's what I'm passionate about teaching and that I speak about in the book. Oh, you're muted. Where we can't hear you, Crystal.
I'm coming.
There we go.
My computer's making noises and I don't want to have a bad background, so I'm forever pushing buttons. Thank you for sharing that, Isabel. There are such similarities in everybody's journey, but everybody's journey is so different in the way we're expressing it. And this is what I love about this book, as you said, because we're bringing together like 25 different angles of how we can approach intuition, how we got to that place of recognizing that when we are living with our intuition, we are living in flow, everything eases, everything opens up for us, the struggles lessen. So let's move to Nikki and hear how you're feeling right now and a little bit about your journey.
Thank you. I'm so excited. Before I start, I do want to let you know that Miranda is in the waiting room hoping to get in. There we go. Yeah, so my name is Nikki Woods, and I am a soul coach. I coach people all over the world, and the main thing that everyone is searching for is a way back to loving themselves, being okay with loving themselves. And so when this book came across my path, I was not looking for it, but I had set a deep intention that I would pass the peace that I had returned to within myself. And so whatever platform that I was meant to share that my journey on, that it would come across my path and that I would say yes if it felt it was in the highest good of all. And so I met Crystal and it has been quite a journey. I've had so much growth doing this project, met amazing people. So I'm really excited to be here.
Too many buttons to push. Thank you so much, Nikki, for sharing that. And welcome, Randa. Apologies for not seeing you there in the waiting room. Let's move over to Farah and her beautiful furry friend.
Yeah,
Let's hear from you.
Yeah. How I'm feeling. I'm feeling so amazing. This book is special to me because intuition is something that has led me to actually move some of the mountains within myself, right? Like this is the pyramid, the mountains we climb within ourselves. And intuition guided me throughout where I stand today, even this book happening. I interviewed Dr. John Martini last year, and I did not know that I would be actually in a book with him. Who knew? So my journey, I am a cosmic vibrational healer and a health coach. Now I think I lost everybody.
No, you're good.
Oh, okay. I'm a cosmic vibrational healer and health and wellness coach. I'm a global coach. I coach women all over the world. And reason why I became a health and wellness coach was also intuition. My intuition led me to this, and I became a coach 5 years ago when this was not in a hot, like mental health and trauma. All this is really, really in streamline now, recent years. But when I became a health and wellness coach, it was really my intuition that guided me into this journey. When I learned about my own trauma that I, had when I was a child, being born in Pakistan, had some emotional trauma, physical trauma, so which I talk about in the book, and also just what I write about my chapter. I just wanted to share with the world, especially with women out there, that you always have this intuition, God voice inside of you because you're part of God. You are an extension of pure source energy. And then you always have this intuition. So how do you listen to that and distract the voice that's projections of everything else around you? So the book is special to me because, Crystal, I'm so grateful that you, first of all, did this project, which is such a beautiful project and the vision that you have. And just bringing all these beautiful authors globally who bring all these different stories and different energies of their own experiences. So much knowledge and so much wisdom is actually in this book. So I feel really amazing today. It's really like I'm just feeling like this one thing that is a milestone for me that I've been able to complete, that, okay, it was meant for me in this book. And from here, it'll be just another beautiful journey that starts from today. So feel pretty amazing and really grateful and super excited to what's coming next.
I think that Crystal froze.
Yeah, she did. I know.
Yeah.
But I love that whatever it was that what was happening, right? She seems to be awed about something. And so I love that she froze
she
with
was
that.
just like, yeah.
So Randa, should you go ahead and
That's what I
talk
was
about
thinking.
you? And
Yeah.
okay.
We can certainly do that. Hi, I'm Miranda Sultan. I'm a transformational life and mindset coach, coming from a background of energy healing and breath work, and then evolving into more of that coaching, guiding position. When I saw the words intuitive living, I was like, oh yeah, that's what life is about. It's just about living in alignment, living in flow, living with ease, balance, fulfillment, and joy. They all come when we're listening to our own intuition. And when it came to writing the story, it was like, I don't know what to write about. There's so many things, there's so many bits and pieces and tools of wisdom. But with Crystal's help and guidance on that, I really came down to the core essence of me as a person. Which is what I really focus on guiding women to get back to, that core essence, because we each have that special zone within ourselves, that light, that magic zone, they call it. And it's a matter of really becoming in tune, not only with your intuition, but with what makes you special. And yeah, so as a child, I've always known I can sense things. So I'm highly intuitive as well as being an empath. But interestingly enough, I shut that off early. So my journey and my story in the book is about the confusion between following your intuition, which is your gut and your inner knowing, and that following your heart as an empath. It can actually be really confusing because following your heart, yes, we're supposed to follow our heart and just go with that. But as an empath, it gets muddled because empaths tend to feel other people's feelings and the desires to help and to fix and to just forget what's going on here and just be like, I can help you, I can hold you, I can take your pain away. And so when that gets really confusing and muddled as an empath, I'm like, I'm following my heart. And I'm like, yeah, it's going the wrong direction. So over time, messages have just come, and they've been quite abrupt, I'd say, through impact to the head. So my chapter is actually called Banging My Head Against the Wall. And it's not actually a metaphorical wall. It's like a physical ongoing thing that has happened in my life. And each of these have been messages and signs to say, hey, stop. you're actually not listening to your intuition, and where you're going right now is not leading you in the direction you need to go. And it would keep going and going and going until the final one, which was 7 years ago, which steered me to like stop completely, because that's all I could do. And that pause is what has allowed me to really develop and connect with my own inner guidance, and understanding that an empath's journey is not necessarily to fix someone, but it's to hold the light in the space with love. So that is about my journey to becoming and really embodying being a healer as someone who holds the space. The healer's role is not to fix. The healer's light is to show you and guide you back to your own light. And it's your job to take that torch and carry it forward. So I really hope that resonates with other empaths, other intuits, just to really give you that confidence and that understanding that your inner knowing is your guiding light. And if you can listen to it, trust it, and learn when you're not listening to it, then you'll be so much more in alignment with your life. Life will be in flow. It'll be full of ease, joy. And I mean, it's going to be challenging. Life is always challenging, but the end point, which is where I look around, and Farah was talking about the mountains inside. I live in the middle of the mountains. I live in a small town in Golden, BC, and I was drawn here, and I kept following that path, and that path has led me to where I am, which I'm so grateful for. So all of this enthusiasm, all of these energies, all of these different stories from all of these amazing authors, I'm so grateful for this connection and for saying yes to the book and yes to Crystal as a guide throughout this whole process. And I really hope that we continue to forge the path for others, and that others gain wisdom and inspiration from it. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you, Randa, for sharing that. Apologies. My computer shut down. I think our energy is too high. It just kind of decided to stop. We're so high in energy. But I am back, and I hope it doesn't happen again. But if it does, you just continue. So the next question I have for you is, what is your hope and your deepest desire for the reader, that when they're reading this book, what is your hope for them? And we can make this short, because there's one more question that I have for all of you, and that is, what does intuitive living mean to you? And we've sort of touched on it, but I'd just love to hear that sound bite, 1 or 2 sentences on that. So, but first, what is your intention for the reader? And we'll start with Tracy again.
I keep coming back to the phrase, inspiration by illumination. And there's so many different stories, and we're shedding light on things and parts of our lives that we probably, at least me, I've never actually talked about what was going on in my head to people that I know, because I felt like I had to kind of keep it to myself. But to shine that light and be like, this is who I am, and I love who I am. And to let other people be like, oh, wait, if she loves who she is, maybe I can love myself. What can I do? Where can I start? So I really think that is a big piece of it. And just knowing that if each person is truly living as who they are, there's no need to compare with anyone. And it just makes life so much easier, because you're not worried about, well, she's doing this and he's doing that. And I've noticed that, just the past 3 years, I've kind of lost that part of myself. And when I see someone else doing that, I'm like, why are you doing? Oh, yeah, I used to do that too. But yeah, so inspiration by illumination.
Amazing. Thank you. Nikki, what about you?
Well, I was thinking earlier today about what a unique experience this book can be for a reader, because you're getting so many different perspectives about how to go about listening to your intuition. What does it sound like? What does it feel like? What are the stories you tell yourself? There are so many amazing perspectives in the book that I think that's unique, because hearing it in these different ways is what's going to lead somebody to say, aha, that one really resonates with me. And it gives them an opportunity to get curious about their lives and the reality that they've created, and Now they've got all these different tools in one book about how they can go about doing it differently and creating a new reality.
Yeah, perfect. Exactly. Isabel.
Well, Tracy and Nikki have said it so well. I was just noticing, like, you guys have said, but I want to say, in terms of my chapter and what I teach, is I teach that this simple, outdated evolutionary mechanism that we call the stress response is literally the primary obstacle to us listening to our intuition. And the reason I love that so much and that it's so inspiring is because that means that if I can just learn to live a life that is more open and spacious, I will be able to access everything I'm longing for, which is peace, love, joy, intuition. So many of us, we call ourselves spiritual seekers. We go seeking, like, where the heck are we going to seek? Like, it's actually inside. And I imagine that every author says the same thing in this book. And so it's like, I think we all need reminders that it's in here, and that there are practices we can do to connect to in here where everything we long for lives. So that's my excitement. Woo, I was able to, my intuition spoke as I spoke. So I'm really glad.
Exactly. And so you brought a new angle to it. It's the same question and 6 different angles. So
Exactly.
Thank you for so beautifully just demonstrating what we've all just said. It's in here and it will come through when we just trust. Thank you.
Yeah.
Farah.
Oh my God, the energy is definitely, I'm feeling the energy of this group is just simply mind blowing. And all of you have said it so beautifully. My intention is the energy of this book. It touches as many people in the world, because lots of women are still finding themselves. They still are learning how to even tap into intuition, because that's not something that's been taught to them. So my intention is, when I was writing this book, to have a tool for women out there who can read this and relate to so many different stories, and literally be like, oh my God, if this person can do it coming from this background, then I can do it. It's just really giving yourself permission to be anything that you want to be, because it's all inside of you. So that's the best way I can put this. Really, it's just really such a beautiful conversation.
Absolutely. Thank you. Let's move to Randa. What about you? What is your intention for the reader?
Well, I've had many intentions. A lot of them were covered here by other amazing women. What I noticed with the release of the book today is that because of the vast number of different backgrounds and stories, I'm hoping that some women who have hidden some part of themselves, that story, that trauma, that trigger, will actually be able to resonate with some of these stories in the book and be able to find hope beyond the fact that something happened to them or something is embarrassing. And there are so many women who've been through all of the experiences that maybe we have, or the other ones in the authors in the book have had. But just to know that you're resonating, you're hitting someone else in the heart, and you're saying, that happened to me too. But look, you can learn from this. Look, this isn't the end of the road for you. You still got that light. You still got that magic zone within you, and inspire them to say, I'm not alone. So that's more what came to me today, along with all of your amazing comments here too, as well.
Yeah, so much richness, so much beauty. And really, yeah, for me, it is my intention for this book that it's a reference guide that people can come into when they're saying, look, I really want to deepen into my inner knowing. I really want to deepen to trust myself, because that was what I set out with when this title came in for me. I was in a place where I listened to my intuition. I've listened to my intuition in big decisions my entire life. But then the little ones, and I write about this in the introduction as well, the little ones were harder. The little niggles, they're actually, because there's not that much at stake. So I found it easier to go into old patterns. Whereas with the big decisions, we really sit down, we really tune in, we really feel. And so for me, I wanted to go into an inquiry to seeing how I can deepen into intuitive living every single day in those day-to-day decisions. And so I called you all in to reflect your wisdom back to me. That is already within me. And so this is what I'm hoping is happening for the reader. The readers will find this book. They'll see it on somebody's feed. They're saying, oh, that sounds interesting. It's like, and then they grab it, and it's exactly what they need to hear in that moment, because I do believe that the universe will just do its magic and present it to those who most need to read it, so they can have their awakening and really deepen into their own trust and their own intuition. And so on that note, I would love to hear, we'll just go like 1 or 2 sentences each. What does intuitive living mean to you? We'll start with, Tracy, are you ready to start? Awesome.
For me, it's really being able to know who I am, and after learning who I am, being able to trust what I'm telling myself.
Perfect. I love that. Nice and concise. Nikki, what about you? What does intuitive living mean?
I'm going to say really listening to the knowing that is within on a daily, consistent basis, where you feel the connectedness to all things.
Beautiful. Isabel.
To me, it means what I call God, listening to God. I say God is my CEO, and taking action from what I hear, and then letting go of outcome, trusting that if I do step 1, listening, taking action, the highest outcome for me and others will occur.
Absolutely. Thank you. Farah.
For me, it's the name of my chapter. Intuition is the highest guiding light within. And listening to that guiding light is God's voice within my heart that actually helps me decide for the highest good for myself and for the highest good of all.
Beautiful. Miranda.
I would say intuitive living for me is listening to my body, listening to the first response in my body, and following the direction that feels the best to me in that moment so that I can live in flow.
I love that. Beautiful. Well, we are coming to the end of our conversation, and I just want to thank you all again for being here, for sharing your wisdom in this book, for hearing the call. May it go out there and really touch the hearts and minds of those who are looking to deepen into their intuitive knowing. So thank you all so much. Go grab your copies. We are number ones. Let me just put these incredible numbers up again. Number 1 in Australia in 13 categories, 7 in Germany, and we just hit number 1 in the US, and we are extremely close to becoming a bestseller in the UK as well. So thank you everyone for your support who has already purchased the book. We would love to hear what you have to say, what resonated with you. Let's create a conversation in our Facebook group, and leave us a review as well on Amazon so that more and more people will be exposed to this book. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you, Crystal.
Thank you so much.
for
Thank
doing
you,
this.
everyone.
Bye,
Thank you, Crystal,
everybody.
everyone. It was an honor.